podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
This fresh pool of tiles has got everyone gripping the bead cards tightly. The tavern tile sits right there invitingly, almost teasing everyone at the table. Right next to it is a hot tile with a difficulty rating of 5. This one would surely reduce any playtesting party's chances of survival by a great deal. You already made a connection of 6 cavern tiles. You are satisfied with getting 2 points on that portion. So nope, not pushing for more caves or longer connections. You look at your bid card 4. You're not greedy. Even if you don't get to go first, at least you don't want to be last. Avoiding that tile number 5 is gonna be your main goal for this turn. Surely a bid card 4 would put you safely in the middle of the turn order. Better yet, its ability would allow you to add another random tile to the pool and possibly give you a way out if need be. But wait! All it takes is for another player to clash with you at a bid card 4 too. And your ability won't trigger. Worse yet, going lost as well. You glance once more at the other player's bid cards on the table. Only one other player has not played his number 4 yet. The chance to clash is low. Probably. Open! Everyone slams down the next bid card, revealing their choices. You see 2 players with a 5 each, and another 2 with a 6 right away. What luck! All the other players have clashed, leaving you the right to pick the first tile from the pool. Gleefully, you reach out for the tavern. Sorry, I'm hacking this, you hear beside you. Me too, another chirped. The remaining 2 other players echoed their agreement. Your heart sinks as you realize you're about to be last after all. You resign to your fate as your party of playtesters prepares itself for a total wipeout.
This episode has been unofficially brought to you by those over at Transforming Designs, the creators of a great table on Kickstarter, the Game Anywhere table. I've talked to you about it before. This thing is better than sliced bread. Recently, well actually today, or the day before you hear this recording, the Unfiltered Gamer did a great review on it. Make sure you go check it out at his channel so you can learn all about a great table where you can actually game anywhere. Once again, it is greater than sliced bread, and we really hope that the creator and designer of it, Chris, over at Transforming Designs, will keep us on as official sponsors. Right now we're unofficially doing this because we really love it. Go check it out on the Kickstarters and back it so you can get that great table at a great price. And then you too can game anywhere. Brought to you by those who made the Game Anywhere table, the best thing since sliced bread, or the best thing since gaming was around, because now you have the pleasure and the opportunity to game anywhere. The table is a little bit heavy, according to our great friend Mike Wright over at the Unfiltered Gamer, but when you're gaming, does it really matter? You shouldn't have to carry very much. You have somebody else carry the game, or if your back hurts like mine and like Mike writes, you can go ahead and have them carry the table and you bring the game, and then you too will be gaming anywhere. The great tables over at Game Anywhere are going on the Kickstarters, so go back them today and get a greater price. They'll be around after, but you don't want to miss this price. Thank you, and on with the episode. Sound familiar? It didn't to me either, but it is a story of Black Souls 2.0. Cheaper, better, more. And today we're lucky enough to have on the creator and designer of that game, Dominic. Is that correct? Is that how you fall in line with this game?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool bean. So you have a new game on Kickstarter, Dominic. What can you tell us about it?
Okay, so Black Souls is really a very it's heavy, it's dripping heavy with theme, and the theme is really cool because it's a board game where you're actually making video games. So there's also a little twist of an angle to it, because if you do know the reference, there is a real video game out there with a very similar name to this, and it's known for its difficulty.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I was talking to you earlier. Thought I got it compared. Yeah, I thought I got confused with it a little bit, but yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I have never played the said video game, but I know that they recently did a Kickstarter, or according to podcasts I heard, it sounds like they did a Kickstarter to go the other way and made a board game. So that's kind of amazing with you guys making a board game that's talking about you making a video game. Did you get inspiration from said video game?
Actually, no. We were trying to go for a board game that makes a difficult video game. So we thought about it, and there was this tongue-in-cheek kind of reference where one of us suggested, why not, put the setting based on something that's already in the real world. So actually, fans who know the references would actually enjoy it a little bit more. So it really isn't actually from that game, because we could just do any kind of video game. But being the toughest known one, the most popular tough game, we decided to go with that angle. So as you see, if you have actually look at the game itself, there's a lot of reference to the video game. For starters, if you're knowing how game designers and level designers work, they usually have this thing called the Wacom or bamboo or something like that. It's where you actually use a pen and you digitally move around the assets to make a level. So that's all reflected in the game, where the player board itself is kind of like a tablet, and it even loads up this fictitious program called level editor. So a lot of the things in the game refer to an actual game studio where you're making video games, including hack cards, whereby you can actually use hacks on a game, and there would even be a blue screen of death that kind of simulates the computer detecting something not going the usual way. So stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like an awesome thing. I see that here. So that's what you meant when during the story when it said I'm hacking this. Okay, I was confused at first, but that makes a lot more sense. And I forgot to thank you and welcome you to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it, Dominic.
Oh, my pleasure.
Cool bean. So, yeah, that's awesome. So, where did you get the inspiration from this game?
Okay, I was playing quite a few of the board games just the other day, and it actually hit us real hard when we were playing this game, and we're saying like, we never actually saw any particular game do some kind of push your luck, where the push your luck itself is the scoring system, whereby the more you want to push, the more you get. But if you exceed the limit, you kind of go bust. There are, of course, games like that, but nothing in this kind of context where you're actually making a video game. So that's where the idea started. And yeah, I would say the scoring, as in the words of Rhado, it's really clever, because you would have to make as difficult a level as possible that would score you a lot of points. But if you don't survive that level that you just designed, then it's all for nothing. You have to make a level that's just difficult enough, but still not too difficult, just so at least one of your party members survives. That would get you the maximum score.
Cool. So you bring up Rhado. Did he review this game or anything?
Yeah, you can actually see his videos if you go to the Kickstarter, the page itself.
Okay, there we go. I see it. Yeah, it looks like he has a playthrough down there.
Oh yeah, he's got the extended playthrough, he's got the final thoughts, and he really of course he's a little more I would say a little bit biased to like the game, because he himself is a video game designer, much as I was in some of my earlier years. But he's my senior, of course. He's been there for almost 20 years. So right away, he could feel the whole reference and all that. So people who are in the game industry, especially the video game industry, they would know the things that are in reference. So this isn't just something that we cooked up, or we did little research about. It's actually very similar to the actual industry of how people would make a video game and then send playtesters in, and if they all die, it's a bad design, because no one's gonna like the game that's too difficult. And then again, it's got to be at least a bit of a challenge, otherwise you'd just be playing something that's boring. So this kind of vibe would be felt when you play Black Souls.
Cool. Yeah. That sounds awesome. So let's go back to the beginning. Did you start off in board games, or did you start off in video games, or tell us a little bit about your history?
It's actually a mix, but I was more heavily into video games previously. So we did things and projects freelance. I did things with people like Ubisoft. We did things that do projects like Raving Rabbids, Prince of Persia for the movie, little flash games that promote it. We did things like, I actually worked with Hasbro at some point. I contributed to the Heroscape community. Back then, Heroscape was kind of like the huge thing. It was number one for a few years. So it's not just recently that we got into game designing. It's been some time, and finally, we decided to step away from the big studios. And Medieval Lords is kind of it's the result of us stepping away, me specifically, to kind of do my own games. So at the moment, I have probably six games. This would be the 7th.
Cool. Yeah, it says 8 created on there. So let's see here. And with the Black Souls, it says 2.0. Cheaper, better, or more. Does that mean you did one previously, or what is the 2.0 and the cheaper, better all about?
Thank you for asking. Actually, there was a Black Souls 1. There's no one, but there was a Black Souls, and it was first launched on Kickstarter on the 5th of September. But unfortunately, we didn't know what was in store for us in terms of shipping, and we kind of got killed there. It's really tough, I would tell you, on behalf of all Kickstarter creators. It's really tough to handle shipping, and those prices, they're exorbitant. And we kind of said, we shouldn't be covering this, absorbing this, because then we'll be into a negative loss. And what we did was we put the shipping cost to the backers. There was a $10 discount, and we didn't put it on the shipping. We put it on the base price of the game itself. That was not a very good move, because then we received a whole ton. I can tell you at least 100 private messages to our Kickstarter account saying that, I'm not gonna pay for a game that's the same price as the shipping. But that wasn't the case. I mean, the shipping was exorbitant, I agree. But it was because we discounted on the base game, so it looked more like that. And we realized we messed up. Yeah. So what we did later on was someone actually worked with us, Quartermaster Logistics. So those guys kind of like a godsend. They came, they solved our problems, they gave us special packages and all that. And lo and behold, we have 2.0, where the shipping is really good now. It's great.
Well, that's good. And it sounds like you might get more than you got if you got 1.0. Is that right?
Exactly. So 1.0 was at 15 grand Sing dollars into its 5th day. Now we're just barely past our 3rd, and we're at 17. So yeah, already we're seeing it better. And that's not forgetting that now the shipping is a whole lot cheaper. So for it to even exceed the original amount would mean that we got a lot more backers this time. Of course, we've lost the golden opportunity where, when Rhado does all his videos and people watch it and come over, we lost that initial one. Otherwise, we would easily have been 30-40 grand. But that's on us.
Okay, so let's see here. So if we back it, let's see, does the shipping get charged afterwards, or how does that work? Like, it looks like in the U.S., it looks like it costs approximately, I wanted to say I saw something about $44 or something.
No. Okay, so in our previous project, Castle Dukes, people gave feedback that they didn't like how shipping was charged after the whole campaign. So what we did this time is we did it upfront. And, I would say to the States, a set of game would cost you $39 US. Okay. And the shipping itself would be $10. So it's very, very reasonable right now.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yep. And if you're in the EU, that's where the previous problem was. We also resolved that. So right now it's still $39 US for the base game. And for shipping, you pay $20 US to anywhere in EU. And that includes paying for your VAT. So it actually is a huge discount. I mean, people would know that paying the VAT itself would be probably 35% of the product itself. So if we're paying for it, you're basically just covering $20. That's it.
So what is that? What's the EA2 or whatever? Is that a shipping thing or a tax thing in the EU?
Yeah, so the VAT is kind of value-added tax, and it's a big problem for backers in Europe and the European Union. So they get charged for whatever they buy from overseas. So what we do as Kickstarter creators is we try and ship it in to the EU first, and then we disseminate the games from within the EU. That way, they don't have to pay for this extra tax. But that being said, we will have to pay for the tax on their behalf because the moment we ship it into a spot in the EU, that's when the VAT hits. So, you know what I mean? We kind of do it earlier just so they don't do it later.
There you go. Yeah, so they're taking a hit for you guys, so you don't have to pay that. That's awesome. And let's see here. So, say me and you were sitting down to play this game. What would it look like? Well, I mean, actually, there's a podcast, so what would it sound like to play? How do the turns work and everything?
Okay, this is a really easy game to teach. We actually have a video of it, how to play it in 2.5 minutes. So that's telling you, it's a sign that, it's really easy to teach. So the game is split into two halves. The first being that you would then draft a total of 12 tiles to make your level. So everyone has to get a total of 12 tiles, and they have to place them in a specific order. And then the second half would be bringing the party of playtesters through the very same level of 12 tiles that they created previously in the first half. The fun part is, in the first half when you're selecting the different tiles, it's not by clockwise turn order or something like that. You actually have to fight for it, because it kind of simulates how everyone's fighting for a job. Everyone on the game is being interviewed for this job of joining the company as a game designer. So this is kind of like a final interview test where they actually go in and they do a beta level. They design a level for the beta, and they get scored based on it, and the one with the best level design gets the job. So they kind of fight for the assets they prefer. And how they do this is through a set of cards numbered 1 to 6. We will definitely want to do it to 8 eventually. We're hoping that the stretch goals would take us there. So what happens is you play the different beat cards. The higher number it is, the earlier you go. So if you want to get something that's really important on your tiles, you want to play a high number. But that being said, if everyone's thinking the same, then it's bad, because in this game, if you play the same number as someone else, you clash. That's what happened in the story I said at the start. When you clash, that's not good. You actually go last, even if you played a high number. And more importantly, all of these beat cards, they each have a secondary special power that benefits you in one way or another. If you clash, they don't trigger at all. So it's a really fun game where, you can see the reviews. People would see, we brought this to GenCon and people were screaming, shouting. They were like, "Oh, come on! You played a 4. I expected you to play a 5," and stuff like that. Because there's so much interaction, people will be talking and talking all the time. Trying to mind read each other, seeing what they're playing and who's the other guy, what they're not playing, stuff like that. And finally, when the levels are done, it becomes a different game entirely. It becomes a reverse resource management where you have a pool of cubes, I would say. The cubes represent different classes. So it's just like in any MMO game or something like that. You would have fighters, you would have mages, clerics. You have that here as well, and they're color coded. You lose these guys across the different tiles. So as I said, it's a reverse resource management where you choose which class to kill off in each different tile. You only choose to resolve one type. So it's a choice. And hopefully if you do the right choices and if you have the right level with the right difficulty, you would get through the whole level with maximum death and having at least just one survivor. That's the optimal situation.
Cool beans. So let's see here. So during play, you talked about a lot of reviews and whatnot. So during play testing, was there ever anything that you guys had to throw out because it wouldn't work, besides the shipping, of course?
Yeah, it's mainly the shipping because we playtested this to death. There was one feedback which actually was also covered in Rhado's review, is that one of the beat card's powers is number three actually. It causes people to place the tiles face down. Well, everything is in this game. It's a little more Euro, so that meaning all information is open as much as possible. All decisions are consciously made. But after the players choose the tile of their choice, if there was someone who played a bid card three, then all the other designers will have to place the tiles face down. This causes them to forget, later on in part two, when the party comes along, they would forget which particular tile had some values or something, so that they don't get to plan the whole 12 tiles ahead of time, because that would be boring. So it kind of throws in a monkey wrench, a surprise. Then that was the issue, because there were really, really hardcore Euro gamers who just love to plan everything, and they were saying that this it actually introduces a memory element, so they didn't like that the memory part of it. What Rado suggested, and what we're gonna go with it as well, is that we could do this as a variant. So having the tile face down is just another option, and there would be another variant. Maybe we'll call it the Rado variant, where instead of placing the tiles face down, they would get a glitch token whenever a beat card 3 is played. And when that happens, if the party arrives at any tile that is glitched, then they would open the party card, which shows one type of hero class. For example, if you open it now, it says a fighter, then the player cannot choose to use fighters to clear off that tile. He's got to choose either the mage or the healers. So this also throws in a surprise, a monkey wrench, so to speak, without introducing the memory element. So yeah, there you go. We've kind of thrown something halfway out.
Cool, there you go. So what's the part of the game that you're most proud of?
Well, the theme, it's really good. I would just really say I'm so proud of the theme. It's so fun to play it. You're a game designer. How cool is that? You're just making game, and you're designing a level that's as tough as possible. But yet, if it's too tough, you're dead. That's why, in our I would say we played more than 50, possibly 100 games at GenCon 50 recently, and the win, I mean, I wouldn't say the win rate, the survival rate is really low, and it's really exciting to watch how players would go, oh, come on, I almost made it. They usually die at the second last tile or the last tile. You would see the excitement, on the faces. That's something really great to have in a game.
Cool beans. So besides Black Souls 2.0, do you have a favorite both video game as well as board game?
My favorite board game to date, the best board game I've ever played, I would say Seasons. Have you heard of Seasons?
Seasons. I want to say we have that. Yeah, we have Seasons. And yeah, that's one of the first games. Like, I just barely got into the. Well, my wife's been kind of collecting games here and there for the last couple of years, but I just barely got into it and kind of fell in love with it last year. But that's been one of the main games that she got me to play with before I really fell in love with board games and started this all. We recently got the expansions, but have yet to be able to bring those to the table.
Oh yeah, the expansions are pretty crazy. The reason why I love Seasons is because it's got such great matrix. The balance it's off the charts. It's great. You never get something that's overpowered. You always have to pay for something in return for a powerful card, and that's why it's so good.
Yeah, I always thought it was good. Yeah, I really like that game. So if you owned the rights to that game, because especially with being a game designer and all, what would be one thing you would do to make it better, do you think?
I was thinking it could be possible to introduce it, a board itself. Right now, it's specifically a card game, Seasons. Imagine if it were a board game. That would be cool, right?
Seasons, I think
Maybe you introduce
maybe
objectives like in the actual game now, you're basically wizards casting spells at a tournament. Now, what if you were wizards traveling from one point to another point? It's still a tournament, but now you've got movement, you've got a party to take care of, and you still have cards, but it's all still in the same universe. That would be cool.
maybe I'm confused because I want to say our Seasons is a board game.
Well, it's not really a board game. You're playing cards. You're just playing cards the whole way.
Yeah, they're playing
The only
cards and
board
going
that's
around the board. Is
available,
that right? Is that the same game I'm thinking of?
uh, the board is more like showing you a clock where
Okay, yeah,
it shows.
yeah. We're going through the seasons. Okay, so how would that
Yeah,
play
it's
then?
not a real board
How would that play if it was a
game.
real board then? I'm kind of confused. Sorry.
Let's say, well, they also made lots of Sidit, if you have heard of it.
Yeah, yeah. I think I want to say we maybe have that. We haven't played it or brought it to the table, or we wanted to get at one of the two, one of the three. I don't know. My wife would know, but yeah, I've heard of that one.
Okay. So imagine it's a combination of lots of Sidit with seasons. You're traveling around the board, and then you do stuff at the different locations, and you still have your cards in your hand from seasons. So you're actually no longer just casting spells, staying where you are, just following the clock that shows you which season is which.
Okay.
It's now more a game where you're exploring, you're traveling, that the kind of feel to it. It could even be a modular board where you just whenever you explore, you would flip a tile and add to the whole universe as the people explore the universe. It gets bigger. Well, I think it's really a great idea.
Cool beans. Yeah, so and we're trying to make green content here. So if hopefully they are, but if they're not listening now, hopefully they'll listen later. But if the creators of Seasons are listening, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. What Dominic would do to make that game a little bit better. But it sounds like we both love that game to begin with. But that would be something you could do to even expand upon it. It sounds like.
Yeah, I would suggest that. But definitely, I love the designer. He's my idol. He's great.
Cool. And yeah, the Lord, does he have more than just those two, the Seasons and Lords of Zidit, do you know?
Well, he just recently made a really popular game. It's called Dice Forge.
Cool. I think I've heard of it, but that's about it as far as that goes.
It's basically seasons for the casual gamer. It's a lot of luck, but you still get a seasons feel. Definitely not gonna appeal to the hardcore strategies because there's definitely quite a bit of luck involved in this. But if you're in love with the designer, if you're in love with the universe, this would be a very welcome addition to the whole thing, I would say.
Oh, cool.
I have that
Check
as
it
well.
out. We'll have to check it out. Have you played not to distract from your game or whatnot, but have you thrown the expansions into the Seasons game, or have you gotten those?
Oh yeah, I play a heck load of games. It's my job to play games. I play as many games as I can. I got like more than 3,000 board games.
Oh,
I got more
wow.
than 5,000 video games. Like seriously, I play games and play games and play games. That's what we do.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So you have played the expansion then?
Yeah, all of it, everything.
Cool. So that's what you do for your job then? Is that with the Medieval Lords? You're just playing to get other ideas, or how does that work?
Well, we as designers, I would say we have to be exposed as much as possible. Like all the top designers out there, I would say, playing games is a part of our research. Like, wow, you know what? This game was so great. Maybe there's a little issue with this game that I could tweak, or maybe this has a great mechanic that I could borrow from, and add it into something really fun. So these are all, I would say, we chalk it up to research. But if you don't even play games, your exposure is little. No matter how talented you are, you just cannot deliver a great product because imagine 20, 50 years ago, let's say 50 years ago, we know Monopoly and all that, but today it's so different. And if you compared Monopoly to any game now, it's a far cry because back in the old days, game design wasn't an actual subject that you could study, but it is today, which is also something that I do as one of my day jobs. I'm a lecturer teaching game design for advanced diploma all the way to the masters.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Cool beans. So how did you get into game design?
Well, like I said, 10 years ago, 11 actually, where we started requesting freelance jobs with the video studios, and then with Hasbro, and then it just got bigger from there. The experience, the exposure, everything, we fell in love with it. We feel we have a talent for making great games, so let's put it to use.
Cool beans. So, looking back at your Kickstarter page and whatnot, it looks like you've created quite a few games. Let's see here. Yeah, 7 or 8. It looks like here. I had it. Yeah. Besides the Black Souls Part 2.0, which sounds like it might be your new favorite. Besides that, and Part 1, what do you have a favorite of what you've created?
I got two really, really great products. I would say I love them to bits. One is Castle Dukes, and the other one would be Sweet Spot. These are really, really great games. Sweet Spot is kind of a risk for me because, generally sports games, they don't do well, and it still holds true today. Sweet Spot just went into distribution just only last week, and already people feeding back that oh, come on, it's just a sports game again, we don't think it would do well. They don't even give it a try at all. But when you do try Sweet Spot, I would say it blows people's minds. So there's this other very good designer. His name is Eduardo. If you go to the Sweet Spot page, you will see his review on it. So he's also mind blown by it. He wasn't expecting it at all. When he played it, he was like, wow, this is amazing, outstanding, that kind of thing. He was very surprised at the depth a sports game could give you. So I was a little disappointed to know that the board gaming world in general doesn't give sports games a chance. I guess there's already a bad stigma based on record and history, I guess. So no real fault of ours. The other one is Castle Dukes. That's really fun because, again, we try and make unique games. So Castle Dukes is an Euro game with dexterity. These two, they don't go together. But I believe we have done it. We have made it. An Euro game with dexterity element in it.
Cool beans. We'll have to check them out. Yeah, they look really cool. What can you tell us about Hitman Holiday, a game of death and sunshine and death?
Yeah, so that was our very, very first product, and it was kind of like an experiment. If you ask me, it was my worst product to date, and it was also my first. We were really experimenting. We did a lot of poor design on it, I would say. Today, surprisingly, it sold out. So we do know how not so good a design it is, because we went against general rules of thumb just to experiment and try, because that was our very first standalone game. It was a success on Kickstarter. It was a success in retail. It's not a success, in my opinion, in terms of game design. But we learned. So I would say after Hitman Holiday, we went back to the safer practices, and we stuck by our books, we stuck by our experience, and we have been delivering really, really fun games. So Hitman Holiday, I would say, was a critical stepping stone.
Cool. So you learned a lot from that. That's good. So I don't know if you can go into detail or not, but do you have anything in the hopper or anything coming up?
Oh, we have a ton. At least 11 games.
Oh boy, I don't know if
At
you
least
can give us any
games.
dirt for those who might be listening.
Okay, there is one game that I would say. I mean, again, we are looking to make games that are really, really unique. I have done a lot of research, and this particular game has. Well, it's right now we have a placeholder for the name, and it's called By the Sea.
Okay.
It's got a dice mechanic that the world has never seen before, and I'm pretty confident because my exposure is big. So, well, I could be wrong, but I did check with other designers, including Jamie Stegmaier from the Stonemaier Games. So he's also in agreement that, wow, this is really unique.
Cool. It's called By the
Let's see how
Sea.
it goes. I mean, yeah, By the Sea. We haven't announced this anywhere else, and well, even it's important to know that this is just a small bonus, that no one's ever done this before. It should always be first and foremost something more important. It would be the gameplay. The game has to be fun. It's funny how other designers sometimes would like to say, first ever in something, first ever. That doesn't really matter. That's just a bonus. people care more about whether or not the game is fun. So again, I just want to make sure that you're not going to this loop where I'm saying this is the first ever and that's why it's good. No, that's not. It's just a bonus that it's the first ever that you would see this dice mechanic, but that's not why you will want to buy the game.
Cool.
It's definitely gonna have fun gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't like I don't think it was a game. I think it was partly because I was sick and just kind of getting new into games, and there was a game that I played well, I can't remember what it was called. That's how much I don't like it, but yeah, but I think I wanted to give it a chance, but yeah, I didn't like it. It wasn't very fun to me. I know a lot of people seem to like it, but yeah, that definitely it's got to be fun. And hopefully our podcast is pretty fun. I'm hoping people like it. They keep tending to come back. So so if you heard that here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, as you heard, Dominic hasn't announced it anywhere. It's called By the Sea. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's placeholder name. Yeah, things would change.
Placeholder.
Definitely.
So let's see. Let's do this first. So if somebody backs, let's see. If somebody backs Black Souls 2.0, cheaper, better, more, when would they expect getting their game? I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but what kind of expectation maybe may they expect?
Okay, so this is something that Medieval Lords holds in the strictest regard, our reputation. We have never been late on any of our Kickstarters. We have always delivered early, so we intend to keep with that. The official announcement is it's next year, March. But don't quote me on this. We are trying to do it as early as January. I'm not sure if we could do it, but yeah, that's what we're pushing for.
Okay, cool. But by March, you should be able to make your own dungeon crawl game and beat your friends out making your own game. So that's awesome.
Totally.
And so when should we also, so now we're done with that. When should we look for this new game that you have in the works with a placeholder name?
Well, as I said, there's 11 of them. This could be anywhere between second and the third game.
Oh boy, you're gonna have us. You're gonna have us hold out.
Right
You're
away.
gonna have to. You're keeping us. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on Medieval Lords.
I'm also talking with other designers, on collaborations and all that. There's so many exciting things happening right now. We just don't know which game would happen first. We tend to work concurrently because this is kind of like the main job. You don't survive on one game. So yeah, I really cannot make any kind of firm deadlines.
And that's okay. Yeah, we understand that.
General,
yeah, but that's awesome. And it sounds like you've heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, one of their ideas, but it sounds like they have a lot. So we'll all have to watch Medieval Lords and their, let's see here. Yeah, Medieval Lords and their different games. So now jump into our next section of the podcast. It's called AAA. Don't worry, it's not AAA for those people in the U.S. who have car troubles. It's actually the Adventures in Application Acquisition. This is where we go over a different application, whether it be mobile phone or tablet or video game or whatnot. Besides any of yours, is there any applications that you either use? It doesn't have to be related to board games or anything.
Application, you mean for
it
game
can be
design?
For game design. It can be just for a while back ago. We had somebody that travels a lot that has an application. Any kind of application that you use a lot.
I'm not too sure. I use a lot of applications, but I could say WhatsApp would be a really great communication, especially when I travel overseas, like when I go to the States for GenCon and all that. WhatsApp works all the same. You don't get charged for it because it's based on internet usage.
It's called WhatsApp?
Another app. Yeah, WhatsApp. WHAT, meaning what, and with an S, and then you call it an app, APP.
Okay,
so
like
you call it WhatsApp.
Okay, cool. So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, you get the reference.
Cool. So what can you tell us
It's a
about
really
that app?
popular chat app. I don't think there's any other applications I really use a lot.
That's okay. So what can you tell us about WhatsApp?
Well, like I said, it's a communication tool, and I'm not sure if you guys have Snapchat or stuff like that. It's all similar. It's just that WhatsApp is a more popular platform right now. You could just talk on it. You can message, you could text, you could send stuff, and it's all based on the internet, so it's free.
There you go.
I mean,
is it cost
if you
to buy
pay
the
for
app, or is the app free to get as well?
It was free, and then you had to pay $1, and I think it was free again, and I'm not so sure right now. They keep going on and off between free and a
Well, there you
dollar.
go. So catch it when it's free. Otherwise, it'll just be $1. So if you own the rights to WhatsApp, what would be one thing you would do to improve it, Dominic?
I would do it like Facebook. I would put little flash games that you could play with your friends through WhatsApp. Well, actually, there is an existing game, I would say, application like that already. It's called WeChat. But WeChat's really popular in places like China. I don't think in the States you guys use WeChat, right?
I haven't
So
heard of it,
maybe
but that
WhatsApp.
doesn't mean some of my listeners
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah, maybe WhatsApp would be the American version of WeChat then.
But there could be people listening that do it because only 53% of my viewers are from the U.S. So very well they could be using that app or one of the others. But I recently, well, at first I really hated the Messenger app. I just had to keep downloading it to be able to chat with people. And then I suddenly discovered that they had games on there, and that's amazing. Do you have a favorite game
Oh
on the
yeah, it
Messenger
is.
app?
No, I don't really use Messenger.
I can't blame you. Yeah, I don't like it either. Yeah. But that's awesome. So yeah, let's see here. And so let's say somebody has been sleeping for this entire podcast. It wouldn't be because of you and your game designs and different things you're talking. They just don't like the sound of my voice. But let's say they suddenly got startled awake, and so they don't get an accident, and they finally decided to listen to the rest of this. What would be your final take on why should they go ahead and back Black Souls 2.0?
Well, the most important thing is we need the support because this is a really great game with you can really literally see the theme behind it. It's unique. I don't even have to talk about it. It's there for you to see. It's a really, really different thing that people are doing. And we need the support to make this a reality. We are a really tiny studio, so if we don't get enough backers, that's it. It's gone. We're not gonna say like, oh, it's okay. We'll sell fun. We'll still do this. We don't. The game gets shelved permanently and it's gone. So that's something that I would say it's really important to us, and hopefully people will back it, make the game a reality. Yeah, I guess
Okay,
that's it.
cool. Yeah, it does look like one you don't want to miss out on. Just looking at it, just going over to their Kickstarter page, and we'll make sure that we leave all of this in the show notes so you can make sure you can go ahead and back it, hopefully, and get an awesome game by March of next year. So let's see, minus coming to your hometown and stalking you, how would people go about finding you, Dominic?
We have a website which at the moment is being rerouted to the Kickstarter page. But yeah, we have contact forms on the Kickstarter, and I'm pretty reactive. We can also be reached from the Kickstarter itself, where you could click on the Medieval Lords and contact us. I guess that's the main two. Facebook would be great. Twitter, we also have a Twitter official account for Medieval Lords as well. So many places where you can reach out
Okay,
to
so I
us.
imagine you can Google Medieval Lords, but we'll go ahead and leave links to those different places for you. And once again, I wanted to thank you for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate you coming on, Dominic.
Yeah, thank you so
No
much.
problem. It's just me today, but don't worry, we've still got Kickstarter Corner. We've got you covered. Today, we wanted to tell you about a great Kickstarter that's going on. It should be continuing for a little bit longer, but they funded on the first day. It is Potato Pirates. You can be a potato and a pirate, and you can learn coding without computers. We also have Arcade Fighter, in which you can bring great games similar games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter to the tabletop. And then we've got Scrooge, the board game. This one I really love because it's taking a Dickens classic, Scrooge, and turning it into a board game where you try to out Scrooge. We've also got Ancient Artifacts. Don't forget this lovely gem in which you are trying to be like Indiana Jones and get the ancient artifacts before those of your friends. It will be a great one. And once again, like Princess Leaf said, I believe over on Amazon Prime, you can watch all of the Indiana Jones films. So go check them out and then back this great game over on the Kickstarters. We also have Wing It. It will be done on the 24th, so you have a couple more days, and they just barely funded, so they're going strong. And you can get this game where you are telling great things on stories like what would happen if you broke into a home and your ex-boyfriend or ex-husband or ex-wife was cooking a meal, and how you would go about possibly getting back together with them, or just crazy off-the-wall scenarios that you never thought of. It's a story game in which you try to come up with the best things with things that are in your hand. Go back them on the Kickstarters and you'll be able to get that game for sure because it has funded. And then we got Swords and Cells. This is a great game. And once again, they're doing a contest or a giveaway over at the Giveaway Geek where you can win coinage for your gameage. And then we have a great role-playing game scenario, or well, not necessarily scenario. It's more like a setting. Yeah, a setting. Let's call it a setting. Let's call it what it is. It's Robert Asprin's The Cold Cash War. And that's a great setting in which you can do the Cepheus system or Savage Worlds. And you take the corporate worlds and you go into their war. The war that corporate worlds have with one another. A great novel written back in the 70s maybe. And then we have Dawn of the Archmage. They are also having a giveaway that is brought to us by Solar Flare Games. You can go over to the giveaway. I'm getting it wrong too. You can go over to the giveawaygeek.com and enter that and the other great giveaways that we have going on. Don't forget Cheese Quest. Be the mouse with the most cheese before your friends. It's a great game of getting the cheese from one area to another and sabotaging your friends while having great fun. I talked to the creator the other day, and you can go back and listen to his episode, which just happened earlier this week. And then a couple new ones that I wanted to tell you about. These are great Kickstarters that just recently launched, so why don't we go ahead and tell you what they're all about instead of just sitting here rambling on and on and on. First of all, we have Trench, Play with Art. This is by Outer Limit Games. I've had a relationship with them for a little while. They seem like pretty good fellas. Now, Trench is an original abstract strategy tabletop game for 2 players based on the trench wars of World War II. It looks pretty cool. It looks like, well, like I said, it's abstract. It kind of gives me the mind of Checkers, but a lot cooler. And yeah, it's based on World War II. So check them out on the Kickstarters. They are going through, well, they got 27 days to go, 26 days to go at the time of this recording around there. And it's a 2-player game, 45 to 60 minutes. It reminds me a lot of Checkered, but they got a lot cooler box and a lot cooler pieces. So go check them out over on the Kickstarters. And then we're lucky enough to bring you Rooster Rush, the dexterity game by Antoine Baza and Corentin Lebras. I hope I didn't slaughter those names. Well, the Speedy Dexterity predicting game, co-designed by the people that I just mentioned, is a 3 to 6 players. You get 3 to 6 players try to cross the road in a mad dash. Oh boy. So, I guess we'll find out why the chicken tried to cross the road, huh? This is from your friends over at Mayday Games. And it looks like you can get this great game at a whopping, well, not a whopping, it's actually very inexpensive, $10. You heard me right, only $10. So, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and back them on the Kickstarters. They will go ahead and shipping will be collected at the end of the campaign, but that is a great idea. They funded really quick this time. I guess they had to stop and go ahead and recalibrate some things and relaunch. And this time they're going strong. They haven't funded yet, but they're at 27 at the time of this recording. They're at $2,753 out of $3,000, and they have 16 days to go. So in no mind do I doubt that they're gonna come short of that this time. But we will really soon. We will bring in you the owner and, well, I guess the CEO of Mayday Games, Seth Hyatt. I hope I pronounced that right as well. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you'll come back. Tell your friends so they can find out about this great game, Rooster Rush. Now on the Kickstarters. And if you want to hear your game over on the Kickstarters Corner, if you want to hear about your game on Kickstarter Corners by me and usually Princess Leaf, go ahead and send us an email over at Getting Geek. Well, no, we are Getting Geeky at Game Relief. You can send us a Facebook message there. But what I meant to say was go ahead and send us an email at gamerelief@gamereliefgo.com. I'm probably going to respond a lot quicker if I have an email, or if you go ahead and send me an email via my personal Facebook page, which is Blake Leafty. I'll go ahead and leave everything in the show notes for you. Why not? Why wouldn't I? Well, this has been Kickstarter Corner, and this has been your hero. Well, not yet, but hopefully I'll become your hero. Getting Geeky with Game Relief. I am Gamer Leaf. And once again, I want to do a quick shout out to all of our friends over in the Ukraine. I have no idea who you are, but I would love to hear from you. Send me an email or Facebook message, or even connect with me on Twitter. I'm not very active there, but would love to hear how you found out about us, what you like, what we can fix, and what we can do better. That goes with all fans. Go ahead, and we'd love to hear from you. And if you want to be on our show on Kickstarter Corner, or just have us interview you for a game, go ahead and email us or send us a Facebook message. We would love to hear from you. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to someone who gave me a shout out, and he'll actually be doing a review of Rooster Rush pretty soon here on his Facebook page. Well, no, on his YouTube channel. That is Logan Chops. Look for his great videos dropping soon. Well, what we like to say over here on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, we'll catch you on the floor. Wait, that's Princess Leaf. We'll catch you on the flip side. Get geeky with Game Relief, or stay geeky with yourself. You all have a great day, and thanks for coming out. Go catch a previous episode, and if you're able to, I would go ahead and leave a review on Kickstarter. Wait, did I just say that? No, I meant leave a review on iTunes. We would love to hear what you like about the show, and it really helps out our ratings and reviews, because the more people who review this show, the more people that will see it, the more we'll be able to bring to you. And that's about all. If you want more and more and more, make sure you review us on iTunes. There, I got it right. Thank you, and have a bright, shiny day. We will catch you on the flip side. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.